Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really plunging into a stack of material that you've shared with us.
Mm.
It's a fascinating collection covering unusual sightings, some alleged hidden objects, and, well, mysterious symbols, too.
Yeah, and all connected by this thread of space and, what many people call UFOs.
Exactly. The sources are pretty varied, aren't they?
They really are. We've got viewer-submitted videos, like atmospheric stuff, then there's analysis of official space agency images and reports about alleged findings in that data. It's quite a mix.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack what these sources are presenting.
Yeah.
We'll look closely at these specific claims the evidence offered,
Yay.
and see if any patterns or just genuinely intriguing details emerge from all this information. Let's get into it.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's kick things off maybe closer to home.
Yeah.
Sightings in Earth's atmosphere, maybe interacting with clouds. We had that video submitted from Victoria, Canada. That one seemed quite striking.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. The source points out this video that appears to show, well, a perfect square indentation right in the cloud layer.
Perfect square.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very natural.
Exactly the point the source makes. The claim here is that it's not natural at all, but it's caused by a cloaked or, an invisible physical UFO that's displacing the clouds.
Huh. So the idea, as the source puts it, is the object itself is hidden, but its physical presence affects the clouds, making an outline visible just for a moment.
Precisely. The clouds in this view act like a medium, revealing the edges of something unseen.
Interesting.
And the source notes this isn't unique to squares. They mention other reports, alleged instances of perfect circular holes, even cigar shapes outlined in the same way by clouds.
That's quite a concept presented there. Invisibility not meaning zero physical effect. Okay, shifting gears a bit, the sources also included another atmospheric thing from San Antonio, Texas. This was May 8th, late like 11:30 p.m.
Right. This report from a viewer described seeing multicolored lights, green, red, blue, even the sort of purpley colors just glowing within the clouds.
Okay.
And what makes this stand out, according to the source, is how long it apparently lasted. About 2 hours.
2 hours, wow. That's a long time for strange lights. And the source adds another detail to this San Antonio report, right? About air traffic.
They do, yeah. The viewer apparently checked flight radar during the sighting, found no conventional aircraft listed nearby. But, and this is the interesting part, they noted they did frequently hear aircraft sounds in that area, even counted about 10 earlier that day.
So no reported flights, but audible aircraft sounds.
Exactly. Which led the viewer, as presented in the source, to speculate. Maybe some kind of monitoring or a search operation happening. It raises questions.
It certainly does. If conventional air traffic was ruled out, then what were those lights and sounds? That's the question the source leaves us with.
Okay, so we've got alleged physical interactions in clouds, unusual lights. What about claims further out? Stuff captured in space imagery.
Yes. The sources definitely dive into that.
Yeah.
Claims related to ISS live streams, even historical photos from Apollo.
And they mention a specific technique for looking at these images, don't they? Something about viewing angles.
Yeah, that's right. The source material emphasizes viewing screens at an angle, especially for dark areas in space photos or videos.
Okay. Why?
Well, the claim is that this apparently increases the contrast. You can supposedly reveal dimly lit or, obscured objects that you just don't see looking straight on.
Interesting technique. And did the sources claim this revealed anything specific on, say, the ISS live feed?
They did. Applying this angle viewing idea, the sources point to several alleged sightings. One was a large circular object sort of peeking over the Earth's horizon.
Looking over the horizon.
That's how the source described it. Another image supposedly showed an object moving behind an ISS solar panel. And a third highlighted some kind of strange structure visible right at the top of the view frame.
So the sources are presenting these as potentially non-conventional objects or structures near the ISS made visible by this specific viewing method.
That's the argument they're making, yeah.
Yeah.
That these details pop out when you use that technique.
Right. And what about the historical stuff, the Apollo missions?
The sources go there too. They show this side-by-side comparison. It starts with a really dark, seemingly empty image from the moon's surface.
Okay. Just dark space or terrain.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But the claim is, when you crank up the contrast again, according to the source, this same image reveals what they describe as a massive rectangular building or structure way off in the distance.
But building on the moon.
That's the description in the source.
Mm.
And they explicitly connect this alleged finding to existing testimony or claims about tall structures being on the moon.
Ah, so they're suggesting this enhanced image supports those older claims and maybe hints that NASA is hiding something.
That's definitely the implication presented in the source material, linking this image analysis directly to, well, allegations of cover-ups.
That is a bold claim. Now, moving to another theme that seemed to pop up in the sources related to space, these large golden wheel or ring-shaped things.
Yes, the sources highlighted an image from Apollo 8, I believe.
That's the one. It's presented as allegedly showing this massive wheel or ring structure just hanging out there in space, far off.
And the sources make some interesting comparisons with that one, don't they?
They do. They draw parallels between this alleged structure and, well, the fictional Elysium space station from the movie.
Right, I remember that.
And also alleged similarities to ships from Star Wars.
Star Wars, okay, that's specific.
Yeah, and the sources really lean into this. They describe it as a mind-boggling coincidence. The claim being that George Lucas's designs from the 70s look like these structures allegedly found much later in space photos.
So they're suggesting more than just a passing resemblance.
They definitely frame that perceived link as highly significant, almost predictive.
Were there other examples of this ring shape?
The sources included a couple more. One image showing Earth from space with a similar-looking ring, but this one seemed to have a line going through it horizontally.
Okay.
And another structure, again sort of ring-like, that was apparently caught by a GoPro camera, sent up really high on a weather balloon.
On a balloon. So closer to Earth, but still very high up.
Exactly. So the sources are presenting this ring or wheel as a recurring shape, allegedly seen in different contexts near the moon in Earth orbit high atmosphere. It's a visual thread they weave through the material.
Okay, now let's pivot to something the sources highlight as maybe a connecting thread between sightings and even, well, institutions. This specific symbol, the chevron or the V shape.
Right. The sources put a lot of emphasis on this. They claim it appears first as a UFO shape itself. They point to an Apollo 17 image specifically.
What does that show?
They claim it shows a green, almost triangular or chevron-shaped object right there on the moon.
Green, okay. They take the symbol further, don't they?
Much further. This is where the sources try to make a really striking connection. They point out that this distinct chevron shape, well, it's right there on the official NASA logo.
The NASA meatball or the worm or the vector.
They focus on the vector logo, the red chevron V shape.
Okay, I see it.
But according to the sources, it doesn't stop there. The assertion is that this same chevron symbol shows up in the logos of many other space and military agencies all around the world.
Really? Which ones?
The sources specifically showed examples claiming the V shape is in logos from Russia, China, Japan, India, Canada, and the U.S. military branches as well.
Wow, that's quite a list. So they're showing all these logos side by side.
Yeah, making a strong visual argument. They use this to argue that the V shape isn't just some random design choice. They say it's a known, frequently photographed shape in UFO research.
A shape seen by NASA and people globally, they claim.
That's the claim.
Yeah.
And they link this shape conceptually to another moon sighting mentioned 3 blue lights in a perfect triangle. They suggest maybe it's a TR-3B type craft.
Which often gets described as triangular or V-shaped, depending on the angle.
Exactly, fitting the pattern they're highlighting.
And didn't the sources include an anecdote, something supposedly said by astronauts?
They did. To kind of bolster the idea that maybe these sightings were more common, or at least internally acknowledged, the sources share the specific quote attributed to astronauts on the moon.
What was it?
According to the material, one supposedly said something like, "We had a visitor again," and another replied, "Yeah, hardly worth mentioning."
Hardly worth mentioning. That implies familiarity.
Yeah.
Or maybe orders not to discuss it.
That's certainly how the sources present it, suggesting a level of routine, perhaps, or maybe instruction not to make a big deal of it on open communications. It adds another layer to the narrative the sources are building.
Okay. So as we sort of wrap up this deep dive into the sources you've sent in, what's the takeaway? We've looked at alleged cloaked objects in clouds making shapes.
Those perfect squares and circles.
Mysterious, long-lasting lights in Texas. Claims of hidden structures seen by tweaking ISS and Apollo images.
Right, the angle viewing technique and the alleged building on the moon.
These recurring ring or wheel shapes in space.
The golden wheels, yeah.
And this really intriguing assertion about the chevron symbol, appearing as a UFO shape, but also, allegedly, across loads of official space and military logos worldwide.
It's definitely a complex picture these sources weave together. Claims about hidden phenomena, potential connections spanning from our atmosphere to deep space, and even into, well, institutional branding. The sources build a narrative suggesting these things are linked, hinting at a reality maybe different from the standard version.
And here's where it gets, I think, really interesting and maybe something for you, the listener, to consider based on what these sources propose. If, and it's a big if based on these sources, but if these symbols, these alleged hidden structures, these recurring shapes, are genuinely connected across agencies and sightings as claimed, what might that pattern, according to these sources, suggest? Shared knowledge, common encounters they're not telling us about, or maybe something else entirely that's just outside our normal understanding.
It really does raise a big question, prompted by the sources themselves. How do these alleged patterns in visuals and symbols, when you look at them through this specific lens, shape our view? Or maybe how do they highlight what we don't know or aren't being told about what's really out there?
Definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive.